She was more than a singer. She was the queen of soul, a voice that carried hope, strength, and love to millions around the world. But even the strongest voices can fall silent. This is the story of Aretha Franklin, a story of power, of pain, and of a final silence that left the world in tears. March 25, 1942, Memphis, Tennessee. In a modest home, a baby girl was born who would one day change the sound of music forever. Aretha Louise Franklin. Her father, Reverend C.L. Franklin, was a powerful preacher whose sermons could move thousands. Her mother, Barbara, a gifted gospel singer. Music was in her blood, but so was heartbreak. When Aretha was just 6, her mother walked out of the home, and 2 years later, tragedy struck. Her mother was gone forever. The little girl who sang in church would grow up without a mother, in a world that demanded strength far too early. But even in pain, Aretha found refuge in music. At just 10 years old, she was already leading songs at her father's church, and the world began to notice a voice that sounded like heaven. By the age of 12, Aretha was no longer a child. She became a mother, not once, but twice before turning 15. The identity of her children's fathers remained a mystery, feeding endless whispers and rumors. While most little girls were playing outside, Aretha was learning to raise babies, and herself. Her father, a man of influence and charisma, took Aretha on gospel tours. At 14, she was already performing for packed churches across the country. The world saw a prodigy, but inside, Aretha was just a little girl carrying the weight of grown-up secrets. 1960s. The world finally heard Aretha Franklin roar. After a slow start at Columbia Records, she signed with Atlantic, and everything changed. Then came Respect. It wasn't just a song, it was an anthem. For women, for Black America, for anyone who demanded dignity. The Queen of Soul was born. She was everywhere. Grammy Awards, sold-out concerts, even performing for presidents. But fame is a crown with chains. Aretha's personal life was in turmoil. Her marriage to Ted White turned violent, filled with jealousy and control. Behind closed doors, the Queen of Soul was living in fear. As the world danced to her voice, Aretha battled demons she never spoke about. Depression, alcohol, failed relationships. Headlines painted her as a diva, but they never saw the lonely nights, the tears behind closed doors. She canceled shows without explanation. Whispers grew louder, but Aretha stayed silent. Then came the whispers no one wanted to believe. Aretha was sick. Very sick. But she refused to confirm anything. In truth, the Queen of Soul was facing one of the deadliest battles of all, pancreatic cancer. Even as her body weakened, her spirit refused to break. In 2015, at the Kennedy Center Honors, she sat at the piano and delivered a performance that brought the President of the United States to tears. It was her last great roar. August 2018. Aretha retreated to her home in Detroit. Family and close friends gathered. They played her favorite gospel hymns as she lay surrounded by love. On August 16th, the world stopped. The Queen of Soul was gone at 76 years old. But her silence spoke louder than any song she ever sang. 18 Grammys, 75 million records sold, and a voice that changed history. Aretha Franklin didn't just sing, she gave generations a reason to believe. Her story reminds us, strength is not the absence of pain, it's singing through it. And though her final days were silent, her music will echo forever.